everyone, my name's Kyle. I'm a first-year core member teaching 4th grade here at Summit Academy in Parma, Ohio. Summit Academy is a network of charter schools all throughout Ohio that specialize in working with kids with a wide range of social and emotional learning disorders, specifically working with students with autism and ADHD. As September moved along, I started to become a lot more comfortable. I really understood the curriculum better. I had a deeper understanding for the standards that my students would need to learn. My classroom community was really something that I was very proud of. Students were forming not only close relationships with one another, but with me, and things were really on the up and up. Outside of my teaching and outside of forming relationships with students, this is where I noticed that things weren't necessarily what I felt like they should be. At this time, I started to hear that a union had been formed. One of my colleagues, Kelly Granda, was really informing me about the benefits of a union. I really had no background about unions and unionizing. I just knew that typically charter schools were not unionized like public schools. I'm now gonna pass things over to Kelly, who's gonna provide a little context as to why the union was formed here at Summit Academy in Parma, the thought that went into it, how teachers got involved with it, and what her thoughts were as to why they needed a union.
I'm Kelly Granda. I'm the art teacher at Summit Academy. This is my 16th school year. Came across this opportunity of a school for kids with ADHD and autism that didn't have an art program. And when I heard about that, I couldn't believe it. I was really drawn to it. I stayed because of the students and the opportunity to work with them. This is the only position that I know of where you can teach kindergarten through 12th grade, all of them. When people would speak negatively about charter schools, I would always jump up and defend Summit Academy. I would be like, oh, yeah, I know a lot of them are that way, but the one where I work, we serve special needs kids. It's something they couldn't get in a public school, and I was really proud of that. The absolute best times at Summit Academy, we had small classes. We had at least 2 adults in the room, and there was nothing went unnoticed. I was really happy, and there was a lot of pride. That's when it was very easy to stick up for charter schools based on my personal experience. And then there started to be some deterioration. We had tried to communicate and we were ready to. I had never had to think about being told, no, you can't, there's not money to buy pencils or buy paper. I didn't really want to leave. I could picture myself retiring from here, but I wasn't sure if Summit Academy was giving the students what they were promised anymore, and that really bothered me. Before I went to my first negotiation, I was really excited about the quick progress we would make. I was hopeful that we tell them these very simple things that we want. We just want what you promised on your website. From the very beginning, we kept getting told no. And we hadn't even gotten to asking for money or anything like that. It was just like what we need for our students, just how can we get that? It was shocking, and it kind of took the wind out of you to just realize how business this was going to be. I truly never thought we would have to go on strike, but you have to decide what your bottom line is. And if I just couldn't keep facing my students and seeing them not get what they were promised, it was really disheartening to realize that we were going to be pushed to that point.
So back in September, I really started to hear about the unionizing efforts here at Summit, and I really started to understand the value of it, and that's really for 4 main reasons. And I'm gonna get into those now, but first I need to get a whiteboard because obviously I need a whiteboard. Okay, 1 second. Number 1, staffing. For me, this was huge. Here at Summit Academy in Parma, we promise our students 1 general education teacher in every classroom, that's me, and 1 intervention specialist in order to provide for the bare minimum minutes that their IEPs require that they have. My students were not getting the minutes that they need. Also, we don't get substitute teachers here. If a teacher is out, someone has to cover. Number 2, class size. You all know class size is a huge thing, but working with these students, I learned that they need individual attention, and having 20 students by myself made it simply impossible to provide them all with what they need. Number 3, health and safety. Students were taking out the trash and the recycling. It really was a mess, and it was really, really bad. The building was literally deteriorating faster than I thought was humanly possible. Furthermore, there was no security, and it was really uncomfortable teaching in a place that didn't have adequate adequate security. Finally, we had a pretty significant scabies outbreak causing our school to close for 4 days. And if you don't know what scabies is, I would say look it up, but like beware, caution, it's pretty disturbing. Number 4, binding arbitration, which basically is a part of every contract that states that we're able to fight for ourselves, and if our students and our teachers are not getting the things that they need and deserve, there are systems in place to ensure that they're taken care of. As the year went on, I noticed that things were not improving and that things were actually getting worse. I couldn't take it anymore. This is when I really started to think about joining this union and to really think about all the benefits that can come. On the other hand, I was really scared because of the contract that I signed with AmeriCorps. As things continued to not improve, we had negotiation after negotiation after negotiation, and we were continuously told no. It's hard for me to put into words what it was like to sit at the negotiation table, sitting across from people saying things like teachers are an unnecessary expense. So our bargaining team went back to our teachers and we told them that we did not reach a deal. And at this point, after months and months and months of struggling, the conversation of the strike came. After we unanimously voted in favor of a strike, I was really scared. I was terrified at the thought of my school potentially closing. I was scared that I would lose my AmeriCorps funding and hurt my relationship with Teach for America. There were just so many thoughts that were going through my mind, but I knew I had to do everything in my power to advocate for my students, and the strike was our only option.
Our students deserve better.
Happening right now, teachers striking at a charter school in Parma.
So we spent 9 days on the line. We spent 9 days in the freezing cold, standing and fighting for our students.
Parents, students, and teachers telling us they're not going away quietly, planning to picket every day until a deal is reached.
Got staffing. Every classroom is required to have 2 teachers at all times. If not, there are systems in place to provide substitutes. We got a cap on class size at 18. Health and safety conditions have dramatically improved, and binding arbitration was granted. It was hard and it was tough, and I would never suggest anyone goes on strike, but here at Summit Academy in Parma, it came down to what our students need. For me, it came down to the fact that I just simply could not stand in front of my students each and every day and not do everything in my power to fight for them. I'm incredibly thankful for the opportunity to share this with you today. I am incredibly thankful for this experience, as it has really taught me what it means to be student-centered, what it means to advocate for students, and what it means to combat inequity in our education system. Thank you.